Thank you all for joining us for SICSS-Howard Mathematica's opening plenary with Dr. Anthony K. Wuta, Provost of Howard University, and Dr., since the last time we saw him, Calvin Hadley, Senior Advisor for Strategic Initiatives in the Office of the President at Howard University. This program will be a fireside chat between our speakers. It is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Calvin Hadley. I'm going to keep saying Dr. Senior Advisor for Strategic Initiatives, who will officially open our event and introduce the Provost.
Thank you, Nanette, who is an old friend by now, right? We've been doing this for a very long time and really excited to be here. I bring you greetings from Jamaica. I would tell you, I guess I'll introduce myself, Calvin Hadley, Dr. Calvin Hadley. I'll also say that as I get used to it. I have the pleasure of introducing our Provost, but before doing so, I want to just give a few words. This program has really meant a great deal to me. I've been able to build this out with Nanette and Akira from the Mathematica team, as well as the larger SICSS team over the past 3 to 4 years, maybe even longer than that. And it's really been a dream, right? This is almost like a holiday to see you guys here and to hear about your experiences. So I'm very grateful to have you here and very grateful to be in this space. A part of, I've grown a great deal. I've grown a great deal since I've started this program. I was a PhD student when I started this program that evolved into a PhD candidate. And I now have received my doctorate from Howard University from the Department of Sociology with the focus on academic and professional success for Black boys. And with that, this event was so important to me that I'm actually on family vacation in Jamaica, and I just saw one of the chats. Big up yourself, my Jamaican family. Unfortunately, I'm not a yachty, but I do get the chance to say that I'm married to a phenomenal woman of Jamaican descent, and we are here on a family vacation. And so this is extremely important to me, and I wouldn't miss it at all. And so with that, I am extremely excited to introduce a friend and colleague. Oh, and let me actually bring one other point forward before I do that. I have officially transitioned, and so I appreciate Nanette for giving me my introduction. And this is a transitionary space for us, our transitional space for us. I'm transitioning from my role of Senior Advisor to the President of Howard University. As many of you know, Howard University has transitioned from our 17th president to our 18th president, and I will be transitioning from that role with our 17th president to the Assistant Provost with my good friend, Dr. Anthony Wuta. And so without further ado, I would love to introduce you to a friend and colleague, Dr. Anthony Wuta, the Provost and Chief Academic Officer of Howard University, someone who has a great deal of information and knowledge, but also a great deal of love for the university. One of the unique aspects of this university is that it builds great humans, right? I think we come in here as individuals and we leave with that special Howard touch. And I think Dr. Wuta really embodies that. Dr. Wuta has been in charge of a number of really important initiatives, including our data science center that I would love for him to speak about momentarily, that intersects a great deal with our SICSS program here. And without further ado, I would like to introduce you to Dr. Anthony Wuta.
Hey, thank you, Calvin. It's good to see you. I hope you're enjoying your time in Jamaica with your family, and it certainly is an honor and a pleasure for me to join and to bring greetings on behalf of Howard University. And this is really a unique time for Howard. There are a lot of things going on here that intersect well with SICSS, and so I look forward to talking more about our Center for Applied Data Science and Analytics and some of the other initiatives that we're implementing that I think really mesh well with SICSS. First of all, Howard is the first and only SICSS to be held at a historically Black college or university, and that's something we certainly take pride in, and hopefully we can expand to other institutions as well. And the work of SICSS, Howard and Mathematica this summer is really critical when we consider the focus and the theme on countering anti-Black racism and inequity. And as you also consider some of the things that are taking place societally, recent Supreme Court decisions, as well as just the politics around the country, I think it's really critical that we continue to play a leadership role in expanding this area of academic thought as well. If you're not familiar with Howard, we were founded as an institution, as a university, in 1867, over 150 plus years ago. One of the things that is unique about Howard is that we have been a diverse institution since our founding. The earliest students included the children of the founders who were white, and also the children of newly freed slaves. Howard is also unique in that we had women enrolled as students since the inception of the university. So at a time where many academic institutions in the US were only open to males, Howard has been diverse, has been integrated, has freely welcomed women, really again since our inception. I look forward to talking a little bit more about Howard historically, and I think the role that has played in really influencing what we're hoping to do. So I certainly hope that you will be fully engaged, and look forward to sharing additional information regarding Howard as an academic institution, and also the impact that we have played in a number of historic events and decisions over the course of the last 150 years. But before I go any further, there are a number of individuals that I want to just thank for their support. And I'll start here at Howard with a number of individuals who've really been critical in getting us to this point. Professor Terry Adams in the Department of Sociology and Anthropology, Professor Nicole Jenkins, and also in the Department of Sociology and Criminology, Professor Rebecca Sue in the Department of Economics. You've already met Calvin, who is our newest assistant provost, and is going to have some very specific and distinct roles to help us continue to support students and to move our academic enterprise forward. But I also want to acknowledge a number of colleagues from Mathematica, President and Chief Executive Officer Paul Decker, and Senior Vice President and Chief Information Officer Akira Bell, and certainly our partners at SICSS, co-founder Matt Salgonic and Chris Bale, and SICSS lead organizer Nanette Coleman, who you've also met as well. Certainly glad to have you join us again, Nanette, and look forward to the conversation.
And Provost, I will kick things off. I see our wonderful audience is still queuing up some questions here.
Okay.
So I would love to kick things off by asking you about our Center for Data and Applied Sciences, the Center for Applied Data Science and Analytics, excuse me. Tell us about the creation of that, the founding of that, and what do you imagine that center will do eventually? Okay.
Great question. And to Calvin's point, we have recently formed a Center for Applied Data Science and Analytics, and just thought that it was really timely for us to do that as an academic institution for a number of reasons. One, we already do have a number of faculty engaged in data science and data analytics work and research. But they're housed in a variety of academic units across the university. We don't have a school for data science, and we don't have a department for data science, but we have faculty in the School of Business and our Information Systems program. We have faculty in the College of Engineering and Architecture in our Computer Science program, but we also have data scientists in our medical school, in our College of Pharmacy, in our Department of Mathematics. So we have a number of faculty really involved in data science work, but because we didn't have one unit where they were housed, we thought that it would be meaningful for us to create a Center for Applied Data Science and Analytics, one to serve as sort of a home beyond their individual academic unit, where we could house and create an environment for faculty who have research interests in that area. The other thing is that we knew we wanted to create a new degree program. We've created a master's degree in applied data science and analytics, and we wanted it to be very interdisciplinary. And so one of the things that we could have done is say, okay, we're going to create a data science center and we'll put it in our computer science department. But we felt like we could create a more interdisciplinary environment, not only for faculty who are steeped in data science and analytics, but we like to say here at Howard that social justice is embedded in the DNA of the university. So whether we have faculty and students in the College of Medicine or in our College of Fine Arts or in our basic science programs, really there's an element of social justice that is embedded throughout the institution. So one of the things that we also wanted to do as we created this center is we wanted to create an environment where faculty who may have been based or had their foundation in the humanities or in the social sciences would also be able to engage and interact with faculty who have technical expertise in data science and analytics. So we could think about how do we answer these broader societal questions? How do we look at criminal justice reform using data science and analytics? And if we're going to do that really appropriately, we also need to have social scientists involved, as well as individuals with expertise in data science. How do we look at issues of healthcare disparities? Well, we need to have people with a background in medicine and in healthcare who are also interacting and partnering with colleagues with expertise in data science and analytics. How do we look at and address issues of socioeconomic disparities or criminal justice reform? And again, that really requires that we have faculty with expertise in different areas who come together and partner with colleagues with expertise in data science and analytics to really help to address those problems from a comprehensive framework. So that one of the things that we're doing with a master's degree program is we certainly are ensuring that students will have a foundation in the technical aspects of data science, but we're infusing sort of a social justice sensibility and a social justice expectation within that framework. And so I've really been impressed. Our first cohort of students are starting this fall, and they come from a broad range of backgrounds. Many of them did not necessarily come from a technical background. They may have had a background with an English degree or in sociology or in some other field, but really have developed an interest in data science and how do we use data science and analytics to help address some of these broader questions. And so I'm really, if you can't tell, I'm very excited about this center. I'm very excited about this master's degree program that we're starting, and also the opportunity for our students to be engaged and to really help data science be foundational in addressing some of these issues that we've identified and that are going to continue to be a really difficult issues to challenge unless we bring folks from different disciplines to the table to be able to address them.
So first of all, thank you for that answer. I could tell that you are excited, but don't worry, you are other nerds here, and everybody's nerding out. So don't be embarrassed. So we have a couple of interesting things. It looks like Dr. Bess, if you wouldn't mind coming to camera, I think Dr. Bess is a grant recipient that's connected to the center. Is that true, Dr. Bess? I don't know if you have your camera on, but it seems like Dr. Bess may be connected to the Data Science Center. And she may not have her. Oh.
Hi. Yes, I am a first-year assistant professor at Howard in the political science department. And I received a grant from the Data Science Center this past year. So looking forward to, I've been working with some other more senior professors in how to build my data analysis tools and have a lot of mentorship in my project. So I really appreciate the Data Science Center so far. And I really wanted to know what the vision for the Data Science Center was in the future, as in regards to like what projects you see happening, and how I can stay involved in the center.
Sure. A couple of things that I'll mention. As I indicated before, we do have a number of faculty around the university who are engaged in data science and data analytics. But one of the things that we wanted to do is really continue to build our capacity institutionally. So we've been in the process of a cluster hiring initiative where we've committed a number of faculty lines that will be supported out of the Office of the Provost, supported by the center, and we conducted an initiative whereby any of the deans, any of the schools could apply for and request one of these faculty lines, one or more of the faculty lines to help support the work that they're engaged in. But there were two catches. One, at least two schools had to partner together in submitting a proposal, and it had to be an interdisciplinary proposal. And we also indicated that, you know, the center will support their salaries over the first 5 years, and then it would be institutionalized within that individual school or college. So what that allowed us to do is we saw some very interesting collaborations and partnerships between for example, the College of Pharmacy and the College of Medicine submitted a joint proposal together that was funded. Our graduate school is partnering with our College of Arts and Sciences, and we've had other and part of what we were trying to do was really continue to build upon this concept of interdisciplinarity, taking everyone out of their silos and really seeing how many partnerships and really deeper collaborations that we could build framed around data science, but also taking advantage of the expertise that is already existing at those individual schools and colleges. We're also supporting a cybersecurity initiative as part of the center. We already offer a certificate program in cybersecurity, and again, looking to identify and train and support the next generation of cybersecurity experts at a historically Black college and university, and in a way that, again, isn't just framed on, it's certainly based on the technical aspects of cybersecurity, but again, with a social justice framing as a part of that. So there are some other initiatives that we're also supporting that we'll, you know, announce over the next couple of months as well.
And I think one of the benefactors of your early work, didn't Dr. Quirkame receive some sort of fellowship that you nominated her for in the data science space?
She did, and I don't know if they've had an opportunity to be there.
I believe Dr. Amy Quirkame has interacted with the group.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and very interesting. You know, I guess one of my favorite faculty. Her background is not in basic sciences or a technical background. She's a faculty member in our Department of Afro-American Studies, but had an interest in data science and analytics, and has obtained a master's degree. We had, to your point, supported her in funding that she was able to receive, I believe, from the Mellon Foundation. And interestingly enough, she's also going to serve as the graduate program director for the master's.
Okay.
So very excited about, you know, continuing to partner with her.
I learned something new as well. And I have a small correction. She has not interacted just yet, but they will be meeting Dr. Amy Quirk very soon.
Good.
And Beth, I'm so sorry. Beth has had her hand up for a very long time. And Beth, I think, has a very unique question.
Okay.
Beth, fire away, Beth.
No pressure. Since you all are both affiliated with the provost's office and the role of provost, I'm wondering, what is a provost? What maybe does it mean to each of you to be provost? And
Okay.
is there anything specific you can talk about in terms of the value of the provost role at Howard specifically? Any of those?
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, my formal title is Provost and Chief Academic Officer. And so in terms of my responsibility, I'm responsible for all of the academic programs at the university. I think years ago at many institutions, a comparable role would have been the Vice President for Academic Affairs. But what has transpired over time is that the person in these types of roles may also have responsibility for enrollment management, for the financial aid program. In our case, I'm also responsible for the university libraries and a number of support programs that we provide to students. So the short answer is that the provost at most universities is primarily responsible for the academic programs, for our reaccreditation, for consideration of new programs, for the review of current programs, has responsibility for the hiring of faculty and plays a role in the promotion of faculty to various ranks. And at most institutions, the provost is also sort of the second in charge. And so the president or chancellor at most universities is usually the CEO, if you will, and the provost tends to be the person both responsible for academic programs and serves as the number two, particularly when the president may be traveling or may have other roles that they're engaged in at the institution. And the second question was
Either like what made you all decide to be a provost, or is there something specific about the role at Howard, how it contributes to the Howard community? Either of those. That you're
good question. We have 14 schools and colleges here at Howard. I'm a pharmacist by profession and an HIV researcher by training. And so I served as the dean of the pharmacy school for a number of years. So in terms of career trajectory, if you will, most provosts typically have had experience either as the dean of one of the academic institutions, or in some cases may have been a chair for a large department and has a sense for how the academic operation of the university works and can contribute administratively as well as in other ways to the furtherance of the mission of the institution. So sort of my career trajectory, I was on faculty here at Howard I've been at Howard for 27 years now. And I was the dean of the pharmacy school, as I mentioned, for a number of years. I was assistant provost for international programs and was asked to, after national search, was asked to serve in this role and have been the provost for about 8 years now.
Our longest tenure, as he says humbly, our longest tenured provost in the history of the university, by the way. And so thank you for that comprehensive response. And that's important because as I tell people that I'm now assistant provost, I get that question frequently. And so I
say, what does a provost do?
I appreciate that because it's actually a prestigious position with a great deal of responsibility in a university, of course, especially the academic offerings certainly would not function without the provost. My role is a little bit different, and I will not give you as long and comprehensive as answer. I think you got that from the provost. I'm transitioning from the office of the president, and the role senior advisor to the president is a position that serves at the pleasure of the president. Was able to really in that position spearhead a number of really important strategic initiatives. And my main counterpart in those initiatives was the provost. So he and I worked together and have worked very closely together for the past, 6 or 7 years, maybe 8 years, to build programs that are academic in nature, but are also interdisciplinary and that connect to industry. And so in my new role, I'm going to be assistant provost with a specific portfolio of academic partnerships and student engagement. And so in that space, I will continue many of our larger partnerships that I've spearheaded with the provost, but I will also have a number of additional portfolios in the office of the provost that I am really excited to serve. And so I'm also new to the space of provost, but really excited to be there and excited to do a great deal of learning on the fly. And I think that may have been our last, as I look through our questions. Listen, there's one goal that the SICSS team doesn't know about yet for all the new members. What I'm going for is for you guys to leave here saying this is your best session ever. And I think that in order to do that, we probably need to give you some extra time back on the back end, right? And so unless you guys, I want to speak now, because I want to make sure that I get to everybody. But a part of what we want to do is make sure that we answer your questions, make sure that we engage you and show you a lot of love, welcome you very much to the Howard family. And Kevin is going to ask our last question. But before I do that, I just want to say this is such an important, I appreciate it. So we do have more questions. So we'll be here as long as we need to. I want to assure you of that. Oh man, and it's so phenomenal to see so many males, so many Black males. I'll just share a part of my passion in my academic, professional, and personal space. As you hear my 3- and 5-year-old sons in the background, is academic and professional success for Black males. Only 59% of Black males graduate high school. And so to see so many brothers, Rashid has bruh at the end of his name. So to see so many brothers on the call really makes me feel good. And so with that, let me dive right in. Kevin, fire away, my brother.
Oh, thanks so much, and I hope you're enjoying your time in Jamaica. So I'm Jamaican, so when you said you're in Jamaica, I was like, oh, okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah,
Here.
man,
Listen, I think I'll be here forever unless Provost makes me come back.
You want to work remotely now.
So my question is along the lines of a previous question, and it's about like funding opportunities from the Center of Applied Data Science and Analytics. So a lot of the conversation was about current Howard faculty, but are there opportunities to kind of partner with the center? Because I'm a health economist, so my work is in like healthcare, and so I'd love to partner with work that's being done in the School of Medicine or with the Applied Data Center. So are there opportunities for that?
Yes, and we certainly want to continue to identify other opportunities for partnership. We've been partnering with a couple of institutions already, not from a funding perspective, but we've, for example, developed proposals with colleagues at Boston University. They've created an interesting data science unit there and wanted to try and learn as much from them as possible. Are also partnering with colleagues at the University of Chicago, and there are other initiatives that we have a small grant program that currently is internal, but I certainly want to identify ways that we can partner with like-minded colleagues at other institutions, and those are some of the things that we'll be looking to build into our portfolio and programming.
Absolutely. Thank you for that question, Kevin. Rashid, and I'm sorry, I got it wrong. Rashid's pronoun is bruh. So pleased to meet you, Rashid, and looking forward to your question.
Thank you, Dr. Hadley. Appreciate you respecting that pronoun. My question is about claiming that I went to Howard. So once I complete this program, am I able to tell folks, I went to Howard?
I'll let Calvin answer that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because the provost, if
he delegated that one.
See, I was gonna say, if he responds, it's gonna be an official response. So I have to give you the response and say, listen, the reality is that Howard has a big family, and I think you guys are certainly absolutely a part of the Howard family. when we endeavored to bring SICSS to the HBCU community, it really wasn't just about Howard. And I joke a bit because we have such a love for the university, but it really is about exposure to the HBCU community. We have such a rich and beautiful community. Nanette, and to her credit, I want to give her a great deal of credit. When we initially spoke to Matt and team at SICSS, they mentioned this person who was not connected to Howard at all, but had been advocating for a SICSS at a HBCU. And we met this spark plug, Nanette, who you guys have met, and I'm sure you know she's a spark plug. And she brought this amazing energy. And again, this is where we live in, right? I live in this world. I'm a Howard undergrad. I received a PhD from Howard. I live in this space. And a part of the world that we build, many of the academic initiatives that Provost and I have built have started with Howard University and then expanded throughout the HBCU community. And so I think when we come here, we represent more than just Howard. This is about the larger community. But with that, we have an extreme love for university, and Howard is a big family, and I absolutely believe you guys are a part of that. And I think to bring it all home is the good brother James. Nice to meet you, James.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so I'm excited. Anthony, I think before we started, Nanette had mentioned that you're originally from Ghana, so excited I'll do you the Ghana honors. Kwaba.
Kwaba.
Yeah. So basically, I do have two questions. One is related to partnerships. So internationally, are you looking to partner with other universities who have a similar goal and maybe looking for collaborations, or is there partnerships you're looking at right now more focused on Howard and maybe probably just in the US? That's my first question. My second question was a follow-up from the question I think Beth asked. So I do know that in academia, most times there are two routes. There are those who go the administrative route, and there are those who go the tenure track and just end up as professors. Based on your experiences, this isn't directed to you, Anthony or Calvin. Anyone can respond to that. Did you start off from, let's say, like a professor and switch into the administrative role? Or did you like work in the industry and move into the administrative role? How did you find yourself in this space after your working life, basically?
Sure. No, and I'll respond to both questions, and then we'll open it up as well. We're absolutely looking to partner with institutions, not just here in the U.S. I think part of what we have observed, particularly over COVID, is that we can continue to build our online capabilities. I think everyone used Zoom, during the pandemic, or used Teams, and it also created more of an opportunity for us to partner with other institutions. We do have collaborations with a number of institutions. For example, throughout Africa, I was actually just reviewing a proposal that we would partner with the University of South Africa. They have probably one of the most extensive online portfolios, certainly in Africa and potentially throughout the world. But there are other institutions that we are developing partnerships and collaborations with, and would certainly obviously like to include this as a part of that. In terms of how I ended up in academia, as I mentioned, I'm a pharmacist by profession, and I worked as a pharmacist professionally for about 6 years. I was working while I was a graduate student as well, and when I finished graduate school and heard about an opportunity to join the faculty at Howard, I jumped on it, and so I joined Howard as an assistant professor, taught classes, developed courses and programs, led a couple of centers that we had created in the pharmacy school as well. And then over the last 10 years or so, 10 to 12 years, transitioned into an administrative role. So professionally, I was a pharmacist before I became a university employee, joined the university as a professor, and have transitioned to an administrative role. Calvin has had a different career trajectory, which he can also talk about.
Yeah, and that's a very interesting question. I appreciate that question because there are a number of ways to enter the space. So I actually graduated with my master's, Howard undergrad, master's at NYU, went to spend a great deal of time abroad. I was actually in Ghana for undergrad, and then I went to live in Senegal and teach in Senegal, came and got a master's. And then after that master's degree, went to work in the nonprofit space. And from the nonprofit space, was recruited to a position in the office of the president, which Howard is, I'm completely Howard made. So I'm one of those guys, as you probably heard earlier, that really loves the institution as Howard built. And so any opportunity to work for alma mater and to really contribute to the greater community was very high up on my list. And so I jumped at the opportunity, and that, I'll be honest, that opportunity really just expanded my world tremendously. I was able to develop a number of academic programs, utilizing a number of the skills that I developed from industry and from my master's degree. And so those things really developed organically. When you're working with the president, which is a privileged and unique position, president allowed me to really scope my portfolio around my strengths. And so I was able to bring a great deal to his team. And again, one thing that you realize, and I appreciate this question, is that, and this is something that I talk to the young students that I work with, right? My philosophy is that excellence is a two-part equation, or success is a two-part equation, right? One part excellence and another part master management of relationships, right? And people don't often talk about relationships and the importance of relationships, but I think the reality is that I'm here today as a result of great preparation, the creator, and opportunity, right? And so I'm now transitioning to the role of assistant provost, and I'm actually teaching my first courses as an adjunct professor this fall semester. As an administrator, you can actually go and teach more than one course. So I actually don't have the ability to enter in as an assistant professor. And to be honest, I never had a desire to go through the full professor route. But I do have a desire to contribute to the classroom. I do have a desire to contribute to the larger university. And as a result of that, I've really been able to sculpt out a very unique space that allows me to do those things in the office of the provost. Now, I will say I'm not completely cut off to the idea of the tenure track professor at some point, but to your point, many people go professor and then academia. I think it's probably a little bit more difficult to do academia and then full professor, but I'm open to the journey. And I will say, again, a great deal of what I've learned is that you have to avail yourself to the opportunities. And so I've been fortunate enough to have those opportunities. This program, right? This program was the intersection of a number of opportunities coming together as well. And so my advice is there are no closed doors, right? I think the reality is you can create the space that you want to live in. There has to be a first every time. And so continue to better understand the path of those that have come before you and understand the ins and outs. You can learn a lot about the pitfalls. I always ask people about their failures, right? I think it's a lot of growth and development in failures. And beyond that, I think dream big, right? The world that you guys are entering into, the computational social science space is the future, right? And we know that. And I am very excited to have you guys as a part of this world. And actually, before I leave, I will say something. This is actually a little bit off topic, but it's something that came to my heart in this moment. As a PhD student, I battled imposter syndrome a great deal. And so that's something that I don't think is unique to me, right? I think many of us in PhD programs get in there, we're really smart to get into the program, and then you get into some of these classes and some of these exams and you get beat up. And after a while, you start to look around and you start to sometimes question your ability. And so I want to share the other side of the success now that I have a doctorate is real belief in yourself, right? Real self-efficacy, which is a part of what my dissertation touched on. But the reality is that you guys have everything you need to be successful. Doubt is natural, right? I'm one of the people that believes that all of our emotions are okay. And I think self-doubt is natural. Self-doubt is okay. I think the beauty of programs like SICSS, especially the SICSS that Nanette has created or helped create, where we initially set out for this to be a very different SICS. We didn't model this after any other sites. We didn't go and pull from those sites. We wanted this to be a safe space for people to develop, to grow, to share fears. And so my hope is that you guys are doing that. You guys have every opportunity in front of you. And the last thing I'll say is, Provost, you mentioned cluster hires, and I imagine a lot of people's ears and eyes started to open up as you mentioned that. And so, you know, the reality is we're going to continue to hire at Howard. We're going to continue to grow in this space. And hopefully some of you guys will get a chance to interact with the university, whether through grants and partnerships or by coming directly to Howard and working as a professor at some point. So I personally am extremely excited to be here. Like I said, as you hear my kids calling me from the pool to be here, I'm missing pool time for you guys. You know you're important to me. But the reality is that this program is unique, and our hope is that you leave here transformed and prepared for the world. Provost, any closing remarks or ideas?
No, I think you really encapsulated a lot of things in those comments, and I don't want to keep you from the pool any longer than we need to.
Well, good. Well, good. Do we have any additional questions? Well, seeing no additional questions, I want to thank everybody. Nanette, you probably don't get thanked enough, so I want to take a few seconds to thank you personally and professionally, as a friend, as a colleague. Shout out to Nanette, continue to do great work. I want to shout out Provost. Thank you so much for giving of yourself and your time, of your expertise. I want to thank the people that asked questions today. Thank you for your thoughtful questions. And for the people that didn't ask questions, thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for being you. Be yourself, be great, and we look forward to seeing you at the top. Enjoy the rest of your program.
Thank you.
Thank you all for watching. For more information on SICSS-Howard Mathematica, visit our website, follow us on social media, and join our email list.